Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Opportunity Zone. I've got Mr. Chris Lavin here.
Chris Lavin in the new studio. Did they see the studio last week?
One time,
but we didn't really talk about it. We've got an old studio that we turned into a new studio, thanks to some getting by with a little help from my friends.
And I'm Nate Armstrong. We got a lot to cover today. FHFA literally has bumped up the lending limits for 2026. So those of you that are looking to buy or invest in your first multifamily, know that Fannie and Freddie have a little more bandwidth. So we're going to talk about that and what it means for you. Also, we're going to go through Memphis. They launched a special little hotline to help cut down on crime. We'll talk about what that means for investors.
You can't walk in Memphis no more.
He's been busting out dad and grandpa jokes.
It's bad.
In the pre-show wrap here.
It's bad.
So you guys might get a taste of a grandpa joke coming up too.
Once you get through the blessing.
Okay. Also, Seattle got a new mayor and what it means for the Seattle market. So if you're looking at that coast, we'll talk about it.
Trouble.
Before we jump into the actual show, I got a quick proverb. I'll ask Chris for a blessing. Let's do that now. So Proverbs 29:26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. Justice comes from the Lord. I said that to my 11-year-old and my 5-year-old boy this morning. And my 5-year-old this morning, he jumped right away. He's like, oh, I'm going to get that one. I got that one. So tonight when I get home for dinner, he's going to recite that one back to me.
This is nothing to do with justice is mine, said the Lord. Different verb, different verse.
Chris, would you mind giving us a blessing?
Yeah, I got to get this justice is mine, says the Lord in there. So, Heavenly Father, first and foremost, expressing my gratitude for who you are in my life is the least that I can do. I ask that you be here and bless our conversations and give us the wisdom that people listening and watching today need. There are people in need. They need your guidance. This world, this country needs your guidance right now. So please bless these conversations so we can give them the wisdom that they need so they can take the blessings and the gifts and talents you've given them and they can be fruitful and multiply. I ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's jump right into it, Chris.
All right, start with a joke. Oh, no.
You go ahead. Grandpa joke.
So what do you call a Christmas wreath made from $100 bills?
If you know the answer, go ahead, type it in the chat.
Yeah.
Type it in the chat.
It's obvious.
Christmas wreath made from $100 bills.
Right. It's a wreath of Franklin's. But
Okay, on to the real news here. Okay, so Memphis, we talked about this a little bit about a couple weeks ago, but Memphis, they sent in the National Guard. They've been trying to crack down on the crime. Crime just got rampant and out of control. And now they sent in the big guns on top of the National Guard. You've got Scott himself, Scott Turner, Secretary of HUD.
I like this guy.
He has come in, and here's his message. They got a little hotline. Let's let him talk for a sec.
We do believe that public housing should be safe. We believe that, and that's our conviction. A safe community starts with safe housing. If the housing is safe, the community is safe. And we want to take good care of the most vulnerable people in our country. And that means making sure that residents in HUD-funded housing can live their lives in peace and security, free from the horrors of violent crime. That's why HUD today we're announcing a new HUD crime hotline to allow the residents of public housing to call the HUD office of the Inspector General, the OIG, to report criminals, illegal aliens, sex offenders, human traffickers, and those guilty of gang activity, drug distribution, and fraud. We're spearheading this hotline right here for the residents of Memphis, Tennessee. This crime hotline is the latest in a series of action HUD has taken to help the American cities and neighborhoods be safe, including of those who live in HUD-funded housing.
Chris, what's your take?
Listen, so I just want to point out one thing. And if you've all been watching the show for a while, you know where my passion is. So, you notice he said, criminals, illegal aliens, they are criminals. So if you're here in this country illegally, you're a criminal. I think that this is a great thing. So my only question is, when you call that hotline, who are you reporting to? Like, are you reporting these incidents to law enforcement or
The
to?
OIG, the Inspector General.
Ooh, doesn't he come about the mail? Isn't that that guy? No, it's the Postmaster General, the wrong guy. But seriously, I mean, yeah, I'm all for this. Listen, I'm all for cracking down on crime. I'm 100% equally across the board. I just hope that this is just not, political speak and something actually happens for it, because that would be nice. Because in my mind, when I was watching this for the first time, all I could think about was that 75-year-old older woman living alone in an apartment, picking up her check or getting her money on the 1st and 15th, and being felt as if she's going to be victimized in her own community. So, yeah, I hope this truly works. I really do. I'm all for it.
Yeah, online they're taking he's taking some heat. They're like, another hotline, is this really going to work? But I actually think what Scott has, everything that he has said he's going to do, he usually does.
I like this guy.
And so I think that this is going to make a difference. And
Okay.
crime in Memphis, just since the National Guard has come in, has dropped by 45%. So they're making a dent. And if they can clean Memphis back up and make it a vibrant place, it could be a viable place to start picking up more units.
And then you can walk in Memphis again.
Walking.
I was walking in Memphis.
Okay, on the similar notes, but a little difference. So we've got Trump's administration, mostly through Scott Turner's group HUD. They're changing some of the rules, and they're targeting basically immigrants and immigrants using Section 8. I know that SNAP benefits, food stamps have been in the news quite a bit lately, but I want to point out what they're now going after. So anyone that is considering investing into Section 8 type housing, please beware of the following. All of these nonprofits, these folks that get grants from the government and help administer Section 8 vouchers, they're now on the hot list. And these are some of the major ones: Home Investment Partnerships, National Housing Trust Fund, CDBG, ESG, many, many more. But these are the big ones that were named, that they're basically saying, hey, we're going to audit you. If we find anything wrong, you're going to lose that funding. We're not giving out money to illegals anymore. Any take, Chris?
Back to, if you're illegal in this country, there's no reason that I should have to bear the brunt of your existence. No. There is ways to come into this country legally. Do that. I'll help you. I'll help you until you can take care of yourself. But I'm not going to help you for the rest of your life either. So I'm all about these types of things. I think that, going back to the governors on the Fed, right? They had to be audited in order to find the crime and the mortgage fraud. I'm all about this type of auditing going on for our government agencies, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you've got these people unmonitored and uncontrolled, and I'll guarantee you that somebody's pockets are getting lined. It's just the way politicians work. No offense to anybody that's a politician. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to call politicians criminals because I didn't want to give criminals a bad name.
Ooh, that's not a grandpa joke. Okay, next up, we have
oh lordy, this is horrid.
Some tragic news. The night before Thanksgiving, the eve of Thanksgiving, we had a couple of National Guard members that got shot, and the shooter, this man, it turns out that he's an individual that came over from Afghanistan as a refugee, as part of one of those big plane loads of folks that the Biden lifts. And this is the building that he lives in on a Section 8 voucher. He's getting government money, Section 8 money from American taxpayers, and obviously never really assimilated to this country.
Go, Brandon. Go, Brandon. This is horrible. And so here's what happened. There was no checks on these people, no criminal background checks done. They just, come on, we're United States, come on. This is why we have a process for people getting into this country. They have to pass certain background checks. They have to not be criminals. They have to not be convicted of certain crimes, especially in the past 7 years. That's why we have these things in place. When you bypass those checks and balances, some mom lost her son, Anyways, it's horrible. It's horrible.
So, Chris, we talk a lot about stewardship and keeping what we earn. And this next one...
Whoa. Not giving away freely to the government that doesn't deserve it, keeping what we own. Yeah.
Well,
giving it to kids and people that will actually truly benefit from them, rather than building bridges to nowhere. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your bridge to nowhere story.
I'm gonna show so literally in the days leading up to the new Trump administration coming in, there was a lot of money that just disappeared, and I want everyone to see this.
Expand on a lot of money?
Billions.
Okay.
76 billion.
Shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct.
My God.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Well,
Well, first of all, why wasn't I smart enough to be in that line, right? No business plan, no financials. You start up a Wyoming Well LLC today, tomorrow you get funded $100 million.
I just wonder which people got invited to that handout money party.
Yeah, I bet
because-
you they were Biden supporters.
Or maybe Hunter. I mean, not to throw any names
100
out there.
supporters,
But
yeah. Oh, you didn't mean guys that are out in the woods.
no. And we can laugh about it, but really, this is
Can we laugh about it?
It's painful. I had an investor, one of our investors. He asked me, Nate, don't you feel bad that you guys are saving so much in taxes and not paying your fair share? And this is my answer. Like, we pay our fair share.
We pay our fair share. Let me make one thing abundantly clear. Everything we do, we utilize the tax code and the laws of this country because we love this country. But there's no way that I'm giving an extra dollar to that kind of idiocy instead of putting it in some kid's mouth. Like, that dollar will feed a child, or we could just give it to some company that had no financials, no proven track record, nothing, didn't exist 2 weeks ago. And you know what? I bet you once all the money's gone, they're not going to exist 2 weeks from now. So I have no problem, none whatsoever, legally not paying taxes. Legally, I pay my fair share. I pay what the government says I owe. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but do not tip that sucker.
No tips. There's
No tips for Caesar.
No, it's not necessary. Okay, let's move forward. We got a housing analyst right now who's been making some headways, and headlines are now being struck for her saying that the housing correction coming for single family, this is not multi. We'll talk about multi in a minute.
Why we're a multi.
Yes, this is exactly why. But she's saying that we're going to see worse than 2008 corrections coming soon. This is coming from Melody Wright, who used to work for GMAC during the last housing crash. And so she kind of had some firsthand information on it. And now she's sounding the alarm bell saying, hey, we're in for a big, big drop.
She's not just. She's been just saying it for a while. Yeah, she's been really, really ringing this bell for a while. See, I live in a fantasy land. I live in Florida, and we're kind of the unicorn. So it's hard for me to keep that vibe. I should probably pay more attention nationally. But here's the truth: I don't invest in that space. I'm not an expert in that space. I'm an expert in multifamily. I invest in multifamily. I enjoy the tax benefits from multifamily. I enjoy the stability of multifamily. I enjoy the fact that with multifamily, the value of the property is not based on opinion. It's based on facts.
Yeah, it's very, very different. What Chris is describing is that when you go value your single family, it matters what the neighbors sold there for.
And what the appraiser thinks.
Yeah, because the appraiser is going to look at the neighbors' houses and say, hey, based on what I'm seeing in recent sales, your property's worth this. Multifamily is not that. Multifamily is commercial real estate, which is based off of net operating income. That's the biggest driver. So with that, we control the value of our property by controlling
absolutely.
rents. Now, on the single family note, I'll just put up this chart really quick. So we have the average age of home buyers. The yellow line down at the bottom is first-time buyers. That's the one force in the market that we want to pay attention to right now. That's creeping up. It's up to the highest point that it's ever been, at least since they've been tracking this data. Now, it used to be in the 30s, people were buying their first house. Now it's in the 40s for the first time. And so is Melody right? Is she wrong? You know what? I could flip a coin on that. I think that there is some softening coming still. I don't know if it's 50%. I don't know if she's right on that. But historically, people can spend about 1/3 of their income to pay for housing, 33%. And right now, people are having to spend about 50%, especially on the first-time home buyers. So either wages would have to go up a lot, or prices got to come down, or interest rates got to come down a lot.
You know, for our next show, I'd like to do a little more research on that, because it used to be a rule that you couldn't get a mortgage if it was more than 33% of your income. I wonder if that's been loosened a little bit. I'm gonna look that up for the next show. Hey, listen, if you know the answer to that question, it used to be, I remember 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I bought my first house, the mortgage broker said to me, or the lender said to me, can't be more than 33% of your income. That's the maximum you can have in a monthly mortgage payment, including taxes and insurance.
You're probably spot on, Chris, because that's what's frozen most buyers. They can't. Right. They physically don't qualify.
Right. So if you know the answer to that question, please put the answer in the chat below. Let us know what you think or what you know. And if you're a mortgage broker out there and you know the answer, please put it in there. And blame me. It's my fault. And it's so interesting that the last chart that you put up there talked about people not being able to afford a house until they're in their 40s, because the next person lived in her parents' house until she was in her.
That next person is the new mayor of Seattle.
Good Lord, please pray for my country.
Yes. So Miss Katie Wilson, she lived in her parents' basement for most of her college career, and shortly afterwards, she started as a community organizer in the Seattle area, basically waging a war for a little bit more fairness in the public transportation system. And less than a year ago, she announced her candidacy. Now she was elected the mayor of a city with a $9 billion budget. She's never managed more than 73 grand in a single year in her life. Now she has a $9 billion budget. She's echoing the same things that our New York mayor-elect is saying right now.
You know, and it makes complete sense to me, because I just applied for a brain surgeon job at the hospital.
Oh, brain surgeon.
Why not? I mean, if this woman can go from managing this little rinky-dink thing to a major city like Seattle, I got to ask this question. How bad was the last mayor? I mean, how bad was the last mayor that a socialist can come in, right underneath in Seattle, and make this happen? But I realize Seattle is kind of liberal, but they're not crazy. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. Or, I got it. It was a rigged election.
We'll find out in a year or two.
I guess so. I'm getting it from both ends. Like, the country is starting on each end with socialists working their way towards the middle. Let me tell you, you start getting into some, like Nebraska and stuff, they're going to start shooting people. Nebraska don't play. Iowa, ain't happening.
I used to think the same about my former home,
Oh my
Minnesota.
God, you've been tricked.
Minnesota was hunters and fishermen and like outdoors people, conservative, and then all of a sudden, like it's completely from the central city, the core city of Minneapolis, it's expanded. All the fraud that you're seeing in the news right now.
Yeah, well, it's because they passed that law there that you can't live there if you were born there.
New law. Not all the news that's reported here is exactly accurate.
Some of it's not even the group opinion.
All right, let me switch gears on you, Chris. Gavin Newsom over in California, and we're bringing up some of these markets and we're joking about it, but if you are an investor...
It's so ridiculous. I mean, how can you not? Could you imagine being an alien watching the news today and watching this country? Or what the rest of the country is looking at us like? Like, we look like fools. It's just stupid.
And we won't be fools with investor capital.
Never.
Like, we are stewards here first. And so a lot of people ask us, hey, why don't you do California? Why don't you do Washington?
That's
because of that. It's because of this, what we're going to put up right next.
I'm going to make a statement, and I don't mean to sound political, but it's political. We only do business in red states. You know why? Because red states are generally landlord friendly. We have the ability to protect ourselves, protect our investors. And I'm here to tell you that I would die if I lost a penny of my investors' money. It would just kill me. I have personal experience where I had a friend that invested his mom's money and invested it in a scam. And as a result, finding out it was a scam, his mother, over 80 years old, lost everything she had. And my friend put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger and took the coward's way out and left his mom to fend for herself at 80 years old with nothing in the bank. Every person every person that invests with us is Frankie's mom to me. They're never going to wonder, or we're never going to lose a penny of their money. It is like if I had to write a check out of my pocket to make sure it was okay, that's what's going to happen. We will not invest in these crazy states that have these crazy rules and these crazy people and this crazy stuff going on. We need steady, boring deals where nobody going to get hurt, and we have predictable growth so that we can return dividends and profits to our investors, so that they can hopefully use those profits to go out and affect the world in a positive way. And that's what that believe in more is right there on the wall. That's the more that we're about, making sure that we affect the world in a positive way. I'm very passionate about it.
Chris is, and it's true. I've seen it. For compliance reasons, I have to say that we can't guarantee that every investment has risk of loss, but I've personally watched Chris write checks. In fact, on a deal that he helped me on, he literally wrote a check. I didn't ask him to. He just stepped in and said, you know what? No, we're going to make sure investors are taken care of. And so, yeah, every sentence of that is true.
That's who we are.
Okay, let me switch gears over to Gavin State. So this is why we don't do California. Here's a good example. They had a fast food wage hike. They set the minimum wage up to $20.
Before you put this up, is this good intentions going bad or idiocy?
I think he was pandering to his voter base.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, he didn't really explain the consequences of his actions on this.
Did you understand the consequences? So did we just put somebody else in office that lived in mama's basement until they were, 40 years old and didn't really know what the heck they were doing?
For next show, I'm going to research Gavin.
We got some research to do, people. Hey, put your opinion in there. When he puts this article up, put your opinion in there. Is this good intentions going bad or just foolishness, lack of wisdom?
So Gavin Newsom, this is why we don't do California, okay? Gavin Newsom, one of many reasons. Gavin said, you know what, I'm going to sign this into law, $20 minimum. It forced everybody in the fast food industry to hike up their wages. What's happened since then is 19,000 jobs are now dead. What's happened since then is prices have gone up. And that some of it could be inflationary, but they've almost doubled to $20 per combo meal at a fast food joint.
Can you expand on why those jobs are gone?
Yeah, what it forced these restaurateurs to do, the McDonald's owner, the Burger King owner, is they said, you know what, we can't afford that. We can't afford wages to go up that fast. So what they did is they turned to technology. Yeah. Notice these kiosks everywhere. They just integrated technology even faster. And yeah, it might have happened in 10 years, naturally, but they forced it on California now.
Yep. So good intentions gone bad or just lack of forethought, lack of wisdom? Put your response in the chat below.
Chris, I'm going to change gears and I want to talk a little bit about something.
This excites me.
Yeah, this is
it excites me and scares me at the same time.
Well, this is a good sign. Multifamily is booming right now. You don't have to believe me. Look at the actual numbers. You have cap increases for the two largest lenders in the multifamily space, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They've hit their cap or just about hit their cap for 2025. And so 2026, they're coming out with dry powder of $176 billion to make loans for multifamily investors.
Yeah, that's like a 20% increase, a 25% increase. They're at like $146 billion. So that's a $30 billion increase. So why do I say this gets me excited and doesn't get me so excited at the same time? Because one thing that they're not doing, and my boy, what's his name? Pulte. Man, this guy is about running a lean machine, lean ship. He's not going to increase personnel. And they've got to handle that many more transactions in a year or that much more dollar amount in a year. And yes, that's the space we play in, right? We play in that 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 million space. So, and a good portion of our loans are with Freddie and Fannie. They're called agency loans. So I'm concerned that it's maybe take a little bit longer for our transactions to happen. We're going to probably have to account for that in 2026 just because they're going to be doing more work, right? It's great that it, opens up more resources to us. But like I said, what's his name Pulte runs a lean machine. So
this is the guy, Pulte. So he's the grandson of the builder, the great Pulte home builders. He takes this job in government, doesn't need a government job at all. He's doing it because he wants to make a difference. He walks into the office in DC and figures out that there's hundreds of employees that are still on like COVID era rules, not coming to the office. And he gives them a 1 week notice and says, you either get your tail in here and start working or you're done.
Sayonara.
And he followed through.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So more loans coming. 2026, expect more activity. That's kind of how I'm reading the underlying tone on that. Chris, as we start to wind down here, people keep asking us for end of year investments, for
Yep.
tax savings. Maybe you can just hint a little bit about what we got.
Well, we've got a couple great deals that are in the pipe right now. Here's the deal, though. One of the deals is like, I almost want to say top secret. As a matter of fact, in order for us to talk to you about that deal, you have to sign an NDA. We have put this deal out and raised $14 million on it in like record time. We've been raising since then, but it didn't go public, not for a minute. So what you need to do to get involved in those deals, and the returns on those deals are predicted to be astronomical. If you want to be involved in these deals, you have to have a relationship with us. In order to have a relationship with us, you have to be in our inner circle. In order to do that, we need you to get on our wait list, speak to one of our advisors in advance to you making any kind of investment. So please do that by getting on the wait list. We've got some amazing deals, and our cadence, as it's shaping up for the first quarter of next year, is going to be insane. We're looking at a deal a month. Right now, we're focusing on over like 212 or 213 million dollars in the first quarter of acquisitions. So please get on our wait list so that we can keep you in the loop, so that you know what's going on, so you don't get caught next year short heading into tax season like you may be done now. Waiting till the last month of the year to try to fix your tax situation is horrible. Do not rely on your CPA to help you out with that. Your CPA's sole purpose is to keep you from getting audited. They're not really tax planners, in my experience. There may be some out there that are exception to the rule, but please be proactive and stop tipping Caesar when you don't have to.
So to get on the wait list and get all these deals, type wait list in the comments.
Yes, please.
Just the word wait list, and our team will get you over the link. And last but not least, if you got a nugget out of this, hit the subscribe button. It helps us get the word out there. And then number 2, you'll get notified when we go live. So occasionally we can squeak out details of deals on this show, and you'll be the first to know if you're clicking the subscribe button and on our wait list.
I'm doing the Vanna White.
And then come back on Mindset Monday. Chris dropped gold yesterday. Literally on Mondays, this man dropped stuff straight from his heart on what he's doing and what he's God's blessed him with, accomplishing so much in entrepreneurship. Make sure you come to that as well. Mindset Mondays.
Mindset Monday is crazy because 97% of the time I have a list of what I'm going to talk about, and 97% of the time I don't talk about it. Whatever God inspires me to put out in that moment, it usually means that somebody needs to hear what I'm talking about. I get out of the way and let God talk to you, and He does it, because believe me, God wants you to be fruitful. He wants you to multiply, and He wants you to have peace and financial security. That's my experience, because I've been broke and I've had a few dollars in the bank, and it's much more comfortable to have a few dollars in the bank. And the way that I did that was just following God's will for my life. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today, because if we didn't have somebody to share this wisdom with, we would just be sitting on our talents and we wouldn't be doing any good with it. So if you weren't here, we couldn't share with you. Thank you for allowing us to be of service. God bless y'all. Have a great day.